Hello and welcome. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're zeroing in on just one day, March 14th, 2026. And wow, what a day it turned out to be. You're about to see how a single 24-hour window can tell these huge stories of global crisis, incredible resilience, national pride, and a pretty stark environmental warning. So let's connect the dots. First up, we start with a major crisis. A geopolitical conflict that's been simmering for years has just boiled over, and its first victim? The global economy. Energy markets are basically in chaos right now, but at the exact same time, a totally different story is unfolding. It's a story of incredible economic strength. While the rest of the world is kind of bracing for a hit, one nation isn't just getting by, it's actually thriving. Then we'll step away from all the politics and finance for a moment of just pure joy. A historic victory on the sports field that has an entire country erupting in celebration. And finally, we're going to look at a story that might seem disconnected, but really, it's the foundation for everything else. A serious environmental alert. A record-breaking heat wave that's a huge red flag for the planet. 4 very different stories, all on one day. Let's get into it. Okay, our first headline drops us right into West Asia, where a regional conflict has officially gone global, and it's sending shockwaves through economies absolutely everywhere. And here's the number that really sends a shiver down the spine of the global economy. The price of oil has just shot past $100 a barrel. Now, this isn't just some number you see on a trading screen. No, this means it's going to cost more to ship goods, to fly, to fill up your car. It affects everything. So you might be asking, how on earth did we get here so fast? Well, as you can see from this timeline, it's been building for a while. Tensions between Israel and Iran have been simmering for years, right? But in just the last few days, that's escalated into direct military clashes that now involve the US. And that brings us to today, which has led to a major disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. That tiny little channel of water is like a massive artery for the world's oil supply. About a fifth of all global trade passes through it. And the ripple effects? Well, they're immediate and they're messy. Higher energy prices mean higher inflation for everyone. Our supply chains, which are already kind of fragile, are now facing huge disruptions. For a big oil importer like India, this is a direct hit to their economic stability. And in the middle of all this chaos, you see investors doing what they always do. They're pulling their money out of the market and running for so-called safe haven assets, like gold. It's a classic flight to safety when the world suddenly feels a whole lot riskier. And listen, don't expect this to just blow over in a week. As market analysts are already saying, the world is bracing for prolonged volatility. Basically, this instability isn't just a blip, it's the new reality we're all going to have to deal with for a while. But that very global turmoil is what makes this next story so incredible. Because while chaos is spreading around the world, one huge economy, India, is telling a completely different story. So here's the puzzle. Right? In a world where oil prices are spiking, how is a massive oil importing country like India supposed to do? You'd probably expect some bad news, but the reality is something else entirely. A brand new report from the credit rating agency Fitch just came out, and they're calling India a bright spot in the global economy. So what's its secret? How is it weathering this storm? Well, Fitch says it comes down to incredibly strong domestic demand. It's like a powerful economic shield against all these external shocks. And that strength at home translates to this incredible number. Fitch has actually upgraded India's GDP growth forecast for the fiscal year to a massive 7.5%. And just to put that number into perspective, take a look at this chart. Over on the right, you've got the slowing growth forecast for a lot of the world's advanced economies. And then on the left, there's India, just completely bucking the trend. It's a really powerful story of resilience in a pretty fragile world. All right, from economic strength, let's switch gears to a totally different kind of national power. Our third story for the day is a moment of pure, unadulterated triumph on the world's sporting stage. India are the T20 Cricket World Cup champions, and they did it with an absolutely crushing performance, putting up a massive score of 255. Now, in the super fast-paced world of T20 cricket, a score like that in a high-pressure final, it's almost unheard of. It's the kind of score that basically leaves your opponent with no chance.
And this victory was just dominant from start to finish. They beat a really strong New Zealand team by a huge margin of 96 runs. Jasprit Bumrah was the hero of the final match, but it was Sanju Samson's amazing consistency throughout the whole thing that won him Player of the Tournament. And for pulling this off on their home turf in Ahmedabad, the team gets to share a prize of 131 crore rupees, which is over 15 million US dollars. Not a bad payday. But on the very same day that the nation is celebrating, our last story brings us back to Earth with a pretty worrying environmental trend that's happening up in the north of the country.
This slide really just lays out the stark reality. On the left, that's what early March is supposed to feel like in the mountain state of Himachal Pradesh. Cool, pleasant spring weather. But on the right, that's what's happening right now. A heat wave that feels a lot more like the middle of summer. The difference is just staggering. In some places, it is a full 8 degrees Celsius hotter than it should be. I mean, that's the difference between needing a light jacket and needing to crank the air conditioning. This is a true unseasonal heat wave, and it has shown up way too early.
And the potential fallout from this is really serious. This isn't just about being uncomfortably hot. An early heat wave puts immediate stress on water supplies and can absolutely devastate crops right when they're starting to grow. It also massively increases the risk of forest fires, and longer term, it raises serious questions about the stability of the Himalayan glaciers, which are so vital to the region. It's a clear, unmistakable warning sign from our climate.
So, to wrap all of this up, let's just pull back one last time and look at the entire day through the 4 key numbers that really tell the story of March 14th.
So here it is, the story of one day, told in 4 simple numbers. Over $100 for a barrel of oil. That represents global conflict. A 7.5% growth forecast, a sign of incredible resilience. A winning score of 255. That's a moment of pure national triumph. And an 8-degree temperature anomaly, a stark environmental warning.
You see, all 4 of these stories, they happened on the same day, in the same interconnected world. An oil shock happening in one part of the world can be balanced by domestic strength in another. A moment of national celebration can happen against a backdrop of anxiety about our changing climate. It really shows us a world that is incredibly fragile and amazingly resilient, all at the same time. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. What does a single day like this really tell us about the complex future that all of us are navigating together?